Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to another interview in the Future Proof Your Law Firm group. Today, I am very excited to have Tys Supancic with us. Thank you so much for being here, Ty.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we get started, as I do with all these interviews, by you giving us just a brief introduction on yourself, your background, and talk to us a little bit about what your firm specializes in.
Sure. So we're known for doing consensual dispute resolution. My father did slash and burn, salt the earth litigation for 30 years because that's all there was. And then he heard about collaborative law. It was invented in Minnesota. He brought it to California. He's called the godfather of collaborative law. And that's really our focus, is helping families lovingly reorganize their family and their finances when the marriage can't be saved. That's what we market. That's what our thrust is in our when we speak and when we network. And so that's what we're known for. And I don't litigate anymore. He still does. I only work with couples who want a consensual resolution.
Gotcha. Yeah, we've had a decent amount of family attorneys on the group so far, and a couple of them have kind of talked a little bit more about this kind of collaborative approach, which is very interesting. Why don't we start with that? Talk to us a little bit more about why you think collaborative approach is something that you guys really push for your clients, and why somebody, if they're thinking about a divorce, why it might be a good fit for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So mediation is an outstanding model because the parties involved actually come up with the solution rather than have a stranger in a robe make a ruling based on their interpretation of the facts. The actual family can decide what outcome they want, what agreements they want to reach, and they can custom design a division of assets and income that works for their family and their circumstances. It can really be an extrajudicial process where they come up with solutions a judge could never order. So it's really powerful. But sometimes the power imbalance or lack of trust doesn't make mediation possible. Sometimes someone just doesn't think they're going to get a fair shake and they need a lawyer advocate. Well, lawyers make all their money going to court typically. And there are many, many law firms that are set up with overhead and staffing that require they have, $10,000 days where they go to court and they run up those bills. That's horrible for families. It's horrible for retirement accounts. It's horrible for college funds. So in the collaborative law model, the lawyers sign a court order that says, in effect, if I'm not a skillful enough negotiator and my client has to see a judge, I'm fired. So the lawyer has to use other tools in their toolbox. You've heard the old saying, when all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. I've counted at least 25 saws: coping saw, jigsaw, two-band saw, circular saw, hole saw, band. I said band saw. Anyway, and I've used a hammer to cut wood because it's what I had. Makes an ugly cut, wastes a lot of the wood, but it works in a pinch. And the lawyer's hammer is, let's just go to court. I'll make $10,000. The other side will make $10,000. Maybe the judge will make a decision. One of you is going to be really unhappy. It's a horrible model for dispute resolution. So it takes the hammer out of the lawyer's hand, and the parties, they can still go to court if they want to, but they tend not to want to, because then that means preparing for trial. And that means all of the trial preparation that generates all those fees. So the collaborative law model is a really powerful model because each party has an advocate lawyer, but the lawyer has to be creative. They have to be a good negotiator. They can't just go to court and let a judge make the decision for them.
Sure.
So it's really, really powerful dispute resolution model.
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally see that. And, like I said, we've talked a little bit about it. And if you wouldn't mind opening up, I'd be interested to learn more. If somebody was thinking about maybe going a little bit more into collaborative mediation side of things, they might be thinking kind of what you were talking about. Oh, the quick wins, making the money is maybe going to court. So on a business side of things, a business perspective, how can it still be beneficial for a law firm to be doing that? Because obviously, you still need to be generating revenue to survive and help more people.
Yeah. So you're still generating income, but you're not, instead of preparing for trial, you're working on another collaborative case or on another mediation. So your staff is still fully employed. They're just not making trial notebooks. They're engaged in other, other tasks. So you might need a larger caseload, but you're not preparing for trial. So it's
Sure.
not like it's a greater strain on the attorney.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean,
Gotcha.
the amount of energy and effort that a trial takes up, that's why it costs what it costs. But instead of having one litigated matter, you could probably have 3 or 4 consensual matters, taking up the same bandwidth, and you sleep better at night.
Yeah.
I could never sleep the night before a trial. And my father, he's been doing this 50 years. He says the same thing when he's got a trial and he's got a 10-day trial coming up. He just finished a 5-day trial. He doesn't sleep the whole week he's in trial
Oh, sure.
because it's just nerves.
Yeah, definitely. No, I get that. No, I could see, why it would be a good shift for some people to make. But like you said, not every divorce can be solved in that manner. So it's always going to be something where both of them are probably going to be necessary. Talking a little bit about things that have been going on recently, I would love to know how COVID affected your business, what you guys were able to do to kind of push past it. Seems like you guys have a pretty big outstanding reputation, which is awesome. So are there any challenges that you guys faced? How did you overcome them, or current challenges that you're maybe running into right now?
Yeah, we'd been doing it the way everyone else had been doing it forever. We've been talking about going paperless, but when you're all in an office together, someone's going to always put a message slip on your desk. There's always going to come back to your desk after lunch, and there's always going to be a Post-it on your keyboard. So now it forced us to really go paperless. We're all working remotely, but we had to go all digital. I found myself still writing on a legal pad. I'm like, wait a second, I'm not paperless if I'm still writing on a legal pad. So I had to put that. Now I take all my notes on the computer, which is better because now it means I can work from anywhere, and
Mhm.
I'm doing that. We're living half time in the mountains. We're living half time in another set of mountains. My wife and I are both working remotely, and that wouldn't be possible if I was lugging files, client files around with me.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge. People have wanted to meet in person. I met with 2 couples during COVID in person. They insisted this has to be in person. It won't work if we're not in person. And each time within 10 minutes, I knew, no, they only needed to meet in person so they could further torture their spouse. They're using this opportunity to inflict more pain and punishment because they've got an axe to grind and they've got another agenda than settlement. So I'm not meeting anyone in person anymore. All of my mediations, all of my collaborative cases, everything is virtual like this, which saves us the overhead of having an office. We probably will lose some clients because those people who want that, to be able to turn the screw in person, those I'm not going to get those cases, which is great. What I found is that mediation and collaboration actually works better on Zoom. I had it explained to me by a psychiatrist that I co-mediate with, Dr. James Walton, who said that when people can see their own face, they automatically modulate their emotion. You won't let yourself get angry if you can see your face. And as human beings, we key our emotions off the emotions we see in the people we're talking to. And so when everybody's keeping their own emotions down and they're not seeing the emotions coming up in the face of the people they're dealing with, I mean, I've handled multiple cases now where in the past someone would have thrown down their papers and stormed out of the room, an accusation of infidelity. I had a case where someone said, I want all the kids DNA tested. I don't think I'm their dad. And in the past, that would have blown it up. And I'd have spent 45 minutes in the hallway trying to talk to the person, come back in the room. On Zoom, it's almost a non-event. I mean, because it's just like, oh, this is the next agenda item. Because the emotions are kept in check. We go into a breakout room if we have to. In the case with I want all the kids DNA tested, went into a breakout room, explained that that's not going to happen, that there isn't any risk that, he's dad. California doesn't care if they're his kids or not. If he's held himself out as dad for all these years, he's going to be dad. And we're going to have a conversation with him about what impact that's going to have on the children. Anyway, it's been really, really powerful.
Interesting. That that's a I like the psychological aspect you've been talking about. We haven't mentioned that before, so that's very interesting, and I think it makes a lot of sense for sure. People are looking at themselves. They probably don't want to make a fool of themselves in this scenario, but like what you said, if you can't see yourself, you don't really sometimes understand how you might be expressing yourself. So that's very, very interesting. A follow-up question that I have to that, what are some of the most important technologies that you guys have been using in your firm that you would recommend other people check out?
Besides Zoom, there really hasn't been any other
Okay.
technologies. I mean, you have to have rules around the technology. So, for instance, we had to create new protocols for mediating by Zoom and for meeting by Zoom. I don't want the couple sitting next to each other sharing a screen. That defeats part of the power of the video networking. When you are feeling the physical energy of your spouse on the couch next to you, it's going to wind you up more than if they're in separate rooms on Zoom screens. So I encourage them to be on separate screens in separate rooms if possible. Their camera has to be on. That feedback loop doesn't work if they've got their camera off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other party is going to be suspicious. What's going on? Why isn't their camera on? Is someone sitting with them? Are they even paying attention? So we had to come up with rules around how it's going to work. It's illegal to record. So I have to let them know we're not going to record this. You can't record this. Please don't record this on your phone. You need to be looking at the camera. I had a mediation where someone tried to do this the whole time. And I said, we're going to need to reschedule until a time when you can give us all the attention that you need to do. He was trying to distance himself, which is an impediment to settling things if he's holding us all at arm's length.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to come up with rules around the technology. But besides Zoom, I don't think we've. So we're using. I want to say it's Microsoft Teams as an instant message thing, because in the past you could stick your head in someone's office and sit, do this and let them know someone's on the phone, or you could put a note in front of them. And so we're using that to instant message each other, the staff. And we had to institute a daily meeting. It didn't work for us to just check in with each other whenever. So now we have a full staff meeting every day. It's at the same time every day, and that's sacrosanct. We only miss it for when there's a hearing, or I guess we'll miss it if we get a big in collaborative law you have team meetings where you have both lawyers, both the clients, a neutral financial, and two mental health professionals. And so if the only time that they can do it is when we have our normal staff meeting, that would be an occasion we'd miss the staff meeting. Otherwise, we always have it. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, that's interesting for sure. Yeah, I mean, every firm is different how they're doing it. And if, you're finding things that work for you guys, that sounds great. And everything that you're sharing, though, is very interesting and insightful that I hope I know people will take value away from for sure. Something that, a kind of question I want to talk about, since your father's been in it for so long, and, I know he's probably built up a very wide network. Referrals probably come in relatively easy, I would assume. But are there any other avenues, or when people find you and they want to reach out to work with you guys, is it just, oh yeah, we know to reach out to them because they're the guys to know? Well, how do people find you and get to work with you?
A lot of referrals from other lawyers, referrals from other sneezers. There's a book called The Idea Virus, which I guess maybe isn't politically correct now, considering what we're dealing with globally. But the concept was what every business needs is someone just spread their disease or their virus. And you get these super spreaders, you get people who are just huge fans and tell everyone about you. And every business needs several of those people to go out and spread. So you find those people, you cultivate those people who are just huge fans, and they might be a hairdresser who tells every one of their clients Oh, you got to talk to Ty. You're getting divorced. You got to talk to. I already have a
Mm,
lawyer. You should still talk to Ty. If you have a lawyer, you should talk to Ty. What he does is different. Um, the internet. I think it's more important than ever now, because for the last 18 months, people weren't seeing their hairdresser. They weren't seeing their doctor. They weren't seeing people who would otherwise steer them to us. So we do get referrals from the internet. Networking groups where you can meet with other professionals, other lawyers, um, Facebook groups, things like that. What you're doing right here, I would imagine that this would be a great resource.
sure. Gotcha. No, that's interesting. That is kind of funny, the name of that idea. But having people like that is a great idea. But like you said, with a certain instance, and that's one thing that I know sometimes people, law firms, I know, referrals are some of the most powerful ways to get clients for sure. But again, one of the things we like to talk about in this group is, with everything that's gone on and kind of the future, having a powerful online presence is very important. And I don't foresee it becoming less important anytime soon. So when you're talking about you get referrals from the internet, is that people, go to your website and they see you, or are you guys running like online advertisements or stuff on social media? What does that look like?
We post on social media. We have a blog. We actively, put things on social media. I was putting videos up all the time for a period. I've kind of died down. I'm too busy right now to do that. But we've got someone that does our social media posts and blogs. We try to do LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter to some extent. Um, I think we're even doing Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
SEO, but we're not doing Google AdWords. We're not paying for any online. We didn't we experimented with paying for boosting posts on Facebook. That didn't seem to do anything for us. So I
Gotcha.
do a lot of networking. I attend a lot of networking meetings, which is easy now because I don't have to drive to them.
Yeah, I know. Hey, having virtual networking events is, I mean, because like this, you can be all the way across the country and talk with somebody, or you're just be talking with somebody that you used to meet with all the time down at the local coffee shop, but now it's just so much easier for sure. So, well, I really appreciate you answering all these questions so far, Ty. I have one more final question for you. This would be, if you have one last kind of final piece of advice for somebody that's maybe struggling right now, what would that be?
Find a niche. I think too many people suffer from going broad. I'll take any. We call them door lawyers. They take anything that comes in the door. Um, I think you need to focus. You want to be the person people think of for X. You want to be the person people think of, that, because everyone is going to know multiple lawyers that do what you do, regardless of what your practice is. But they're only going to know one that has your niche, that has your focus. And to the extent that you can, that's what you need to talk about. That's what you need to promote. You might also, I'm doing a lot of post-nups and prenups right now. I never promote that. I never talk about that. I only talk about collaborative law and mediation and consensual dispute resolution. I've declared I don't go to court. I wear this to send a message. And some kid said, "Is it the message, don't hire me?" Well, no, I hope not. The message is I don't go to court. The message is I'm not like other lawyers. If you want a shark, I'm not your guy. And I get calls from people now who say, "Oh, my best friend's getting married. It would destroy them. They cannot afford to hire the wrong lawyer. Please take good care of them." And so I think I'm top of mind for that now. So whatever kind of law your audience practices, they need to find a niche and then just stick with that niche. And they'll get other referrals, because if people know you're great at your niche, they'll say, well, he could probably also do post-nups. He can probably also do prenups. And so I get those cases also.
Mhm.
But because I'm top of mind for that thing that I do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think niching down is very important for sure. And I think it can be scary for some people in the beginning for sure, because they think, "Oh, I'm niching down. I'm not going to be able to take on all these different clients." So I mean, there's less people who would want to work with me, and that's scary for a lot of people. So I guess this kind of, really quickly, I see you shaking your head, so I'm assuming you agree. What is kind of a mental barrier? Like, how would you recommend people break through that mental barrier of knowing, no, it is a good idea to niche down. If I niche down, there's still going to be enough people to work with me, etc.
I'm not telling them to not take cases. I'm not telling them to refuse a client that comes and say, "Oh no, that's not my niche." I'm talking about their marketing and their promotion. They can still take everything that comes in the door if they want. I had to stop. I had to say, I'm not litigating anymore. And that's why I started wearing the Hawaiian shirts, was because the clients would come, potential clients would come into the office and they'd say, "Go meet with Ty." And I'd say, "I don't litigate." They'd say, just meet with them. But I don't go to court anymore. Just meet with them. And I'd get sucked back in. So I started wearing the Hawaiian shirt. People would come in, they go, "Well, they can't meet with Ty. He's not dressed for it. He's not dressed to see clients today. We'll have him meet with a lawyer that litigates, who's wearing a suit." So that was part of the branding. So they can still take the stuff outside their niche. It's not going to affect their bottom line if they focus their marketing. It's not going to affect it in a negative way. It's only going to affect it in a positive way. They can still take, the lawyers that I know that talk about they just work at the intersection of employment law and real estate. That's all I do. The truth is that's only 10% of their business. The other 90% is general business. They have a general business practice and they do everything that a transactional business attorney does. But they're top of mind for people when they go, "Oh wait, you just used the word real estate and you're a business owner. You got to go to this guy."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really it's a really powerful tool.
Oh
It's
no, it definitely is.
not going to reduce anyone's income to claim they only do one kind of thing. "I'll make an exception for you. You're a friend." They can
Definitely.
always say.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, Ty. I really appreciate all the value you dropped today. And if people want to learn more about you guys, more about kind of the Law Collaborative, where could they go and find out more?
TheLawCollaborative.com.
Gotcha. Awesome. And I will link that below this in the description. So thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.